Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Tom Bruni, Senior Writer at StockTwits, to discuss retail trading interest in technology and innovative industries. Tom, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
And it's so interesting getting the feedback from the StockTwits community. I mean, you have a massive community of retail traders and investors online. Retail interest in NVIDIA, as an example, has always been strong on the StockTwits platform. How has it been over the past month or two now that AI is really the center of conversation?
Yeah, it's been super interesting. You know, when you think about themes in the market, right, technology is kind of this broad-based idea that spans across sectors and industries and across the globe, right? So whether you're talking about autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, automation, robotics, and now we've got AI, you know, it makes sense why it's kind of that big picture theme, because it stretches out and encompasses pretty much every industry nowadays. And then we've got kind of like the shorter term themes that are happening, like the regional banking crisis. You know, those don't have as much staying power within the retail community because, you know, they're important in the moment, but they don't necessarily impact you know, the big picture long term. And even if you think back to that, you know, a lot of the banking failures that happened were related to their technology exposure out west. So it makes sense why technology is at the forefront, and I know it can seem a bit redundant coming in here every time saying like technology is of interest, but it's different pockets, and AI is the place that people are focused now.
Well, I mean, it certainly makes sense because it's the future of our economy, and if you think back to the dot-com bubble in 2000, the S&P 500, there was a bigger makeup of energy and banking. Now that's totally shifted with technology having the biggest weighting. It's just the future of the economy, but we know it was strong with companies that have exposure to AI. Are you starting to see that broaden out a bit?
Yeah, so it's an interesting kind of environment because since October we've seen the Nasdaq 100 and the broader market in general rebound sharply. The Nasdaq 100's up about 40% since then, about 33% year to date. But if you look at something like the Russell 2000, which doesn't have as much of that big mega cap exposure, it's only up 8 or 9%, even including this week's gains. So it's an environment where market participants have to ask themselves, do I buy, you know, NVIDIA that's already up 300% since October, or do I kind of broaden my horizons and maybe identify other areas that will benefit from AI that haven't run as much? And I think we're starting to see that.
We're also starting to see in healthcare too, more interest.
Yeah, so in terms of themes that we're seeing on the platform, like small and mid-cap biotech has been a consistent area over the last 6 months or so. There is some interest in financials, fintech related. You know, PayPal has come in a bunch, worries about growth, fears about how they're going to continue growing there. But, you know, certain areas that have been beaten down that are financial and technology related are starting to catch a bid. And then another area is
you also found some winners in the software stocks. It doesn't necessarily have to be just about, because you have to remember, software is all about service.
Yeah, exactly. The point I was going to make there is a lot of these software stocks are still way off their highs. Some of them are down 80, 90% off their highs. So if you're a portfolio manager or you're a trader and you've missed a lot of this run over the last 6 months, you have to make a decision here. Do I buy, you know, these mega cap tech names after they've run a bunch, or do I look to other opportunities to try to play catch up in your portfolio?
Let's talk about the demographics for a moment here. Why do you think on the StockTwits platform that retail traders are gravitating towards the tech sector or other areas that have innovation exposure?
Yeah, I think the key thing here is the demographics skew younger, right? So these are Gen Z and millennials that have grown up with technology in every aspect of their lives. So not only are they using these things daily, but they're really interested in how technology is going to change the world, whether it be autonomous vehicles or AI. I mean, with the ChatGPT craze, like everybody and their mother was using it in our age demographic. So I think it's an interesting time for markets. Online communities are playing a big role in discussing innovation and, more importantly, discussing how that innovation is impacting company earnings and ultimately their stock prices.
It's so interesting and a little bit off topic here, but thinking about the next generation of retail investors, I saw something on Twitter yesterday. It was in a classroom and somebody had asked an 11-year-old, what is AI? They were able to give a pretty distinct description. This is part of their everyday lives. I mean, your generation grew up on a phone, you're more comfortable on camera, you understand how mobile applications and so forth work, but kids that are 10, 11, 12 years old understand this underlying technology.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. And I think the education that's being invested, I think, you know, with the onshoring of kind of like the technology that's happening, you know, diversifying away from, you know, foreign supply chains, like a lot of interest and a lot of attention is being paid toward, you know, educating people in the U.S. about how to create these, building factories, making sure that we're investing in that innovation here, and that's creating a lot of opportunities in markets.
Yeah, I mean, this kid 10 years time after college could be a developer for you. You never know.
Exactly.
All right, Tom, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.